Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to Daily FX Analysis. Just one item on the economic calendar today. Consumer confidence in Germany come in at minus 6.8, forecast minus 2.7, and previously it was revised to minus 1.8. So clearly consumer confidence isn't good, but I think that reflects the the situation or the mood across the markets that we focus on, Europe, UK, United States of America, between inflation rate pushing up and Omicron racing through communities, guys. There is not a lot of consumer confidence out there. So, that's the headwind that we're going into 2022 with. It's going to be interesting, if not necessarily profitable. Of course, the reason for looking at currencies or FX on a daily basis is that we're looking for opportunities there that might not be available in the stock market at the moment. So let's just quickly go over and look at the charts. Here we have the dollar on a 4-hour time scale, guys. I'm looking for the dollar to go long, but at the moment it's in this flat correction, guys. I don't know when it's going to break out of it. So obviously when you're in a flat, you would not be surprised if you got something like that. Would I try and trade it? No. Could there be a break of that bottom? Possibly. But at some point I do believe the dollar will break there. That's nothing new to what I've been saying recently, but just reminding you that that's where we still are. Can it break and go long from here? Well, quite possibly it can, guys. The reason I draw this in is just to say, well, listen, if you decide to try and trade the dollar long from here, do realize that there is the technical proposition or possibility, that's a better word. There is a technical possibility that it could come down into here in some, form or other before it starts to go long and break out. So what would you do about that? Well, obviously, you may not trade the index as a whole, but you could take this information and plug it into the major currency pairs. And what it means is if you decide to go long in the dollar at this juncture, or as it breaks out here and sets off an alarm, then do be prepared. In other words, have your stop losses in such a place and trade in such a way that you can give yourself a wide berth, guys, so that if it does come down, you're not going to get stopped out. But do remember that amount there should be, if you're going to trade the way I do anyway, should represent the same amount of money or the same percentage of money as if you were putting your stop loss there or here. It just means your return's going to be less, guys. And I hope you understand what I'm saying there. Okay, so quick look at the yen before we move on. Still running flat. Hasn't made up its mind whether the stock markets are going to, money's going to pour out of the stock markets or not. If it does, you'll see that. If it doesn't, you'll see this continue to run flat and maybe even start to, if the money comes out of the stock market, you'll see the yen doing that. But if it doesn't do that, then we could see the continuation of this move down. I'm not going to predict which one's going to happen because nobody knows. But we will keep an eye on it, guys. And when it starts to move, then we'll say, okay, it looks like this is what's going to happen. And at that point, we'll be able to make some decisions about which direction to trade the yen in. US dollar, yet again, as we say every day, this is just more or less the opposite of DXY, guys. So if we think the dollar is going to pull back a little bit structurally, without any technical information, you'd be looking for that to come back up there and then get involved in it as it comes down, so that if it gets down to there and bounces again, or even comes into there and bounces again, you've got your stop loss to zero, you've protected yourself. If you get in here and it pushes long, the danger is that where do you put your stop loss? If you put it there and it comes up, well, you're out of the game just as it turns and goes. So for me, I like to wait for the correct setup to the best of my ability. I don't always get it right. Um, but at least plan to get it right and then see what your emotion tells you to do. But it's certainly running flat, guys. There could be another upside to it. Maybe it breaks out a little bit more. And if it did that, I'd certainly look to trade it. Doesn't mean it can't drop straight from here, guys. Pound. And it's the same situation. The structure looks slightly different, but it's running flat at the minute. At some point, I'm pretty sure it will drop. Where do you get involved, or do you get involved? That's the questions. The Aussie's the same. There's a little pullback that we were looking for the other day. If we zoom into this in the 1 hour time scale, we'll see it better. And you'll see the reason why we draw those. So we drew that the other day when the chart looked like this. Now, I don't use these very often, but if we run replay and we bring it into there, there's what things looked like yesterday. And I said, the guys, don't be jumping in short there. Wait for a pullback, get an alarm on it. And if the alarm goes off, then that's something for you to think about getting involved in. Doesn't mean it's a definite. It just means it's you've ticked quite a few boxes with that. If you believe that trends that direction because the dollar's getting stronger, you've already had that move. You look for a setup, and if it starts to go again, then your first target would possibly be, well, your initial target obviously be there. After that, your next target would be there, by which time you've got your stop to zero. If it comes back up again, guys, you're out for a zero. It's a free trade. And if it keeps going, then you're into a really nice trade. Then decide what your target is, whether it's a percentage target or a price target or a pip target. Maybe you work that way. And at that point, you take your profit. So going back, when we got to this point, we put that in to say that that's the sort of thing we're looking for. It's not exact, but it's the same structure, guys. It's a corrective structure. It's the thing that I normally do. When I do that, that's the type of thing I mean, or that. Obviously, different time scales. This could be a 15-minute time scale. It could be a daily time scale. It could be a 4-hour time scale. Obviously, with daily, you'd be trading it long within the corrective structure. And at some point, as it dropped, you would change from trading it long to trading it short. But whenever it's a 1 hour or maybe even 4-hour time scale, and you're looking for it to drop, and you don't necessarily get the whole thing, it could have dropped from there, it could have dropped from there. So don't try and trade it long, guys. You're looking for this to drop. And that's what we're in here doing. We're looking for this to drop. So just to quickly clean it up. And I know I'm doing a little bit of teaching here rather than just analyzing. And I probably shouldn't do it, guys, but it's just natural to me. So yesterday we said wait for a pullback. There you have it. So that's your pullback, guys. Now, what can happen next? Well, either you take that as a little zigzag and you're going to get that, as I said, with your target being down there, or this is going to push on up, and give you a more of that type of structure. In which case, if you really want to trade it short, you could get involved here, but don't kill it. Nice low leverage. Get involved there. If it pushes on up, when it starts to drop from here, then you get involved again. If it goes from here, then you're in a decent trade. And at some point further down here, maybe you can get into it again, and then just trade it down. New Zealand, sharper pullback. So obviously there's a pullback on the Aussie New Zealand guys. But look, what were we looking for? These look exaggerated because we were on the 4-hour time scale. So we're saying look for a pullback in this. Now in the 4 hours, it doesn't look too bad. There's it there. I'm going to put that in like that, guys. It doesn't have much structure to it at the moment. So I'm a little bit wary of, just jumping into something like that, you need to get down a little bit and see, is there any structure to it? It would look like a setup. Not necessarily, it's just petering out. There's no indication there that it's stopped. So this all comes back to DXY again, guys. If DXY breaks out of here, then this will drop from here. But if DXY decides, it's got some more to go, then this will have some more to go. So yet again, it's how do you trade it? I would say that the trend's in that direction, and that's the direction to trade it. But guys, just remember, you're not trading all of these. You're looking for the best of these. US CAD has continued to push up. Look at how it's moving. What would you look for next in there? Well, just what I was drawing the other day. Looking for it to drop again for your setup. Try and trade long. Can it go from there? Well, it can. But I wouldn't be too keen to try and trade that from there, given how that pair's been moving. Now, it could go into something like this, and just continue up like that. But I wouldn't trade this one unless I got a pullback on it, guys. US Swiss running flat. Yet again, guys, are we going to get the other side of that? So often they come in and you don't even know why. But it's still there. It's a big question mark. I would only trade that if it dropped down into there. It certainly can take off from here. Yes, Swedish, same thing, guys. It's been running flat. It's at the top. It could break out, but I'd be happier trading it from down there. US yen, similar to the Swiss in that it's running flat. Excuse me. Are we going to get the downside to it? That's where I'd be happy trading it from, but it could go long from there. Gold is pulling back as well. Possibly it's going to break out sometime soon, guys. But yet again, it's not as predictable as it used to be. It's not. Things aren't happening this last year. So the way they were kind of obvious, so much has happened in the world economy. We'll probably get back to predictability, at some point over the next year, hoping that the Omicron goes away and, the whole problems with world logistics starts to get sorted out, and then we start to see inflation settling back down, and then we'll get some sort of normality, hopefully, back to the markets, and then we can start to use our normal, predictions. Is the market going to drop, and are people going to rush into gold? Those are two things that I don't know the answer to. Structurally, this looks like it wants to go long. Silver, nice move up in silver yesterday, guys. If you're in from there, get your stop to zero. I'm in from my way up here somewhere, so I'm hoping to get my money back on it. And to be quite honest, the way things are, I think I'll probably just take my money back. I get into safety too soon, guys. 6 months ago, I started getting into gold mining companies and get into silver, etc., because I thought we were going to see a much bigger drawdown in the markets, and it was too soon, guys. Maybe at the end of next year. Bitcoin, nice little move up in Bitcoin. Is it the start of the acceleration? Don't know. The jury's still out in Bitcoin. There's people who still come out and say it's worthless. There are other people come out and say, well, it is where it is, but its functionality isn't there compared to the newer cryptocurrencies coming along. So I don't know about Bitcoin, guys. What I've invested in, I've spent the whole year thinking about Bitcoin or about cryptocurrencies, trying to find out a little bit about them, and my gamble on cryptocurrencies, and that's all it is, guys. My gamble on cryptocurrencies is on altcoins, as they're called, because some of them have tremendous upside potential. Doesn't mean it'll happen, but there is tremendous upside potential. and much more than you would have with the likes of Bitcoin, as far as I can see. And what would what's the potential for them, or what is it that I see in them that makes me want to be involved in it? It's functionality, guys. It's use. And I'm no expert in this stuff, guys, by no means, and I'll say that from now. I'm just using anecdotal evidence, common sense. They're talking about Bitcoin being a currency, but maybe somebody out there knows something I don't. I'm sure there is someone out there knows something I don't. But the point I'm making is that Bitcoin at 60, what? It's 49,000. They're saying it's going to go to 100,000. How do you use that as a currency, guys? So you start using 0.0027 Bitcoin, and then it goes up by 10% in a day. So what costs you? What 0.0027 is value in dollars was yesterday? It's now 10% more, so you're paying 10% more for something. The world doesn't work like that, guys. If I go out and buy something for $1 today, tomorrow it'll still be $1. Next week it'll still be $1, and at some point, in 6 months' time, it might be $1.10, but it'll not go up, 10% in a day or drop 10% in a day. Plus, $1's a dollar, a pound's a pound, a euro's a euro. It's a small piece. It's not 0.0027 of a dollar. We're not. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, we used to use pennies, but that was 100th of a dollar, 100th of a pound. But it was round numbers, guys. How do you do that with something that's so valuable? If a dollar was worth 67,000 or $49,000, well, what would you break it down into? You'd have to get a new thing. So I don't get how it can be seen as a currency. Also, when you use it, the costs of transfer, the costs of use are ridiculously high. And so is Ethereum, which was the one everyone was kind of going to. Well, this has got more chance of being a currency. But you try using Ethereum, guys. I've tried using it recently. I've started mining a little bit of Ethereum recently just to get involved. I understand what was going on. I know that they're changing their system from GPU mining, proof of work to proof of stake, and the thing will die out. There are some other altcoins you can do, but I took the little gamble that I'd be able to pay off my equipment, either completely or nearly completely, by the time Ethereum stopped being mined, and the process of doing that has helped me understand a little bit more about it. But you mine Ethereum, you get yourself, a few $100 or a few $1,000. You try to turn it into dollars, and the transaction fees are ridiculous, guys. You're talking about. Well, I've stopped trying it. So I'm going back a few months ago. Something like $50, $60 to transfer any amount of money, guys. So you're trying to transfer $100 out, and the fees are $50 or $60. How does that work as a currency? It doesn't. So then you start getting down to Polygon, Matic, things like that, where when you do a transfer, it costs you a few cents in terms of the value of Matic. That could be potentially a currency. Or altcoins could potentially be a currency where you're using something like Matic to transfer them from one place to another. So that's why I'm interested in altcoins. And I know this has turned into a long, drawn-out thing that isn't, it's anecdotal. But your own experience of using something kind of, you go out and you buy a product and you really like it and you think it's a great product. Have a look at the company that makes it, and whether it's a new product or a new company or whatever. And that's maybe where where you should be investing. And not that you'll be able to do that with everything you invest, but it's certainly a good place to think. If you use Amazon a lot, well then, this is a good company. If you use eBay a lot, have a look at it, I'm not suggesting you buy Amazon now. For me, it's way overpriced, but, a few years ago, if you were using Amazon a lot, that's a place to look. ETH, same thing, it's moved up. I'm not changing my view of it. If it came down to there, it'd probably be cheap in terms of where it's been. Therefore, that would be the place to trade it from. I convert anything that I mine. I convert immediately into an altcoin, guys, or even a stable coin. Oil. Well, oil's dropping a little bit, guys, and the reason it's dropping a little bit is the fear of lockdowns. So obviously oil will not be used as much. It's not going away down here. It's not going to do what it did last time. We're not going to get lockdowns. We're not going to lock the economy down. We'll get restrictions, but we're not going to get lockdowns, and they'll be short-lived. We've got vaccines, we've got treatments, we've got experience. We're not going to have the same effect this time around as when COVID first came out, guys. The bigger fear isn't COVID, guys. The biggest fear is inflation. Euro CAD, obviously the euro's pushing up against the CAD, basically because the oil price is dropping. But I can see this eventually starting to come off as the oil price goes up, as the dollar goes up and the euro goes down. This will trade in that direction. There's no setup on it at the moment, but that would be the direction I'd be keener to trade it in, because I could see the reason why it would move in that direction. Euro Oz. Yeah, I would try and trade that short, guys. As I was saying yesterday, there's my projection. Prior to that, this was my projection. Just take that out. Basically, could see it continuing to drop. We'll take that one out because that was an idea we had last week where we said, well, it could drop from here. So I'm saying it's going to drop from there. Well, it could drop from there. New Zealand, you can see it's started to move in the right direction. So anyone that paid any attention to me when I suggested that was going to happen, oops, I've taken too many arrows out, guys. Let's just put one of them back in. Obviously, you're looking for a setup. If you're not in it, if you are in it, and there's your target down there. Euro yen. Leave that one alone till we find out what's going to happen to the yen. I said that yesterday as well. Leave that one alone till we find out what's going to happen to the Swiss. I can see it's been moving up, guys. Pound CAD. Yeah, the problem with this at the minute is that the pound's going short and the dollar's going short, but and the CAD's going short, but the CAD's going shorter faster than the pound, therefore it's going up. But you don't want to be trading that, guys. Pound Oz, I can see this dropping. Pound New Zealand, I can see that dropping. That's what we've been looking for. So we can just move that over to there, guys. Pound Swiss. Well, there's the weakness in the Swiss, pushing it back up. I don't know if that's going to be sustainable, guys. Leave the Swiss and the yen alone at the moment. Pound Euro. Yeah, there could be another downside to that. Pound yen, same thing, guys. Well, we said the other day, look for a pullback. So, but you'd have to be brave to trade that. I'd leave that one alone. Aussie yen. Well, I'd rather trade that long than the pound against the euro, the yen. But yet again, there's other things to trade. Let's just wait and see what's going to happen. Well, we did say that the Aussie New Zealand will have pushed short today because it was obvious what had happened. But we've also said that this is how it was going to move. So is that the next move? Quite possibly. If you get into this, you're probably going to have to sit in it for a long time, guys. So do be careful with your leverage. Remember, leverage costs money. WBT. Oh, I think I just set that, didn't I? Oh, sorry, that's Whitbread, guys. Oh, that's one of those reopening trades that I got involved in a long, long time ago. And you can see where I got involved in it. way over there, guys. Look where it is now. I wasted time. When it gets back up to there, if it gets back up to there, I should have got rid of it. It was only a few dollars down on it, back over here. And then Omicron came out October, November, and then off it went again. Sorry, quick distraction there. Where were we? Aussie, New Zealand. Okay. I was quite keen to get involved in this the other day because I do like trading this pair. The problem is this. I don't like getting involved near any previous highs, guys. I know we often make new highs and new lows, but it's better to be in the run up, and then if it comes off it, you're okay. You can either take profit or you can, let it hit your stop loss. Having said that, I do think the trend's in that direction, but whether I'll get involved at that point or not, I don't know. Aussie Swiss. We were looking for this, guys. So off it's gone. Whether that's sustainable or not, I don't know. Just because it's a Swiss. Aussie CAD. It's edging up because of the oil prices dropping, guys. So there's potential more upside to it. It's not one I want to trade. Swiss yen. If it drops, I'll trade it long. Just get out to the 4-hour here, guys. There's the reason I wanted to drop. That zigzag there, guys. Doesn't have to do it. It could just come back up to there again and end up with some sort of cup and saucer or cup handle. I don't know. Those things people see all the time. CAD Swiss. It's another one I would like to trade along, but I'm going to leave it alone at the minute because of potential down or upside, downside in this case, strength into the Swiss if the markets continue to drop. CAD yen, same reason, same thing, guys. I want to trade it long, but I'm going to wait until I see it starting to come long, start to see the oil price coming up and start to see a little bit of stabilization in the currency, or not the currency markets, in the stock markets. And then that will give me more confidence to trade this long. New Zealand yen, same argument. It's coming long, guys, but I don't have the courage to trade it. New Zealand CAD. Oh, that was nice. That's on a 4-hour. Yet again, we did predict it, but I wasn't brave enough to trade it. Well, what next? Well, you're going to have to wait for the next pullback, guys, and then decide if you think it's going to continue to go long. Swiss, that's a nice move as well. Short on the Swiss. There's a lot of thin trading around at the minute, guys. That's why I'm so wary. There's a lot of thin trading there for, particularly in the stock market. The stock market is pushing up today after pushing down yesterday. Is this money coming out of the Swiss into the stock market? Not sure. If you don't know, leave it alone. US ruble. I would say this is going to go long, guys. It's not something that I think I traded it once last year, the year before. Didn't like it. I can't remember. Maybe it cost a lot of money to trade it or something like that. Anyway, for anyone that is interested, I suggest that it's going to do that. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Speak to you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.